We are looking live at Washington right there, the White House, and a foggy day in the U.S. Capitol. And one of the issues before the Biden administration, and indeed before Congress, is the nationwide shortage of baby formula. They are investigating the situation that is affecting parents right across the United States, leaving many worried they are not going to be able to feed their children. It's hit most of the biggest formula brands in the U.S. Stores across the country are struggling to keep supply in stock. We've been talking about as much as 40% of the stock is just simply not available for all sorts of reasons, which we're going to talk about in more detail with Magda Gabrisalassi, who's there in Washington and on this story for us. A little bit more about what's going on, Magda, as far as what's causing the problem, but also new efforts now as the White House and Congress look to try to solve the problem there.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the talk from the White House right now is that baby formula makers have already ramped up production here in the U.S. There are also plans to increase baby formula imports as well and sort of cut through the red tape that could be preventing that at this point. Now, of course, this shortage is all happening because of a perfect storm of problems. So you have increased demand, you have supply chain issues, and that, of course, is all coming out of the pandemic. And then in February, there was a recall of some baby formulas made at Abbott Nutrition Plant in Michigan. And because of that, that recall, it was tied to possible bacterial infections. That's all playing into this. Now, that company says it's made some changes, that it could be ready to restart production even within a couple of weeks if the Food and Drug Administration gives its approval, but the FDA still has some concerns around contamination. So the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked about this yesterday. Take a listen.
I'd go back to why this decision was made in the first place, which was to save babies' lives. And the FDA is not going to approve manufacturing again unless they are certain of the safety.
Now, if that company does get the approval they're looking for, they say they could be up in production in a matter of weeks, and then that would mean store shelves, products would be on store shelves possibly within 6 to 8 weeks.
So, Magda, as you say, a perfect storm of factors causing this situation, recalls and supply chain issues, et cetera. But you said imports. If we go back to the time of the Trump presidency and trade deals from that era, how does that figure into the situation we're seeing now?
Yeah, well, Trump pushed for policies that really put limits on how much formula could actually be imported into the U.S., and you could say we're seeing some of the consequences of that now. So the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement, that's the one that replaced NAFTA. There were limits there put on importing Canadian formula products. And for anyone here in the U.S. looking to bring in those Canadian products, well, on the top end of things, you could be facing a 17% tax to bring that in, even more than 17%. And yet, now we're hearing the FDA is talking to Canadian officials, trying to find solutions for this shortage, along with talking to others as well. And so while all this talking is going on, parents are scrambling to find enough formula for their babies. And for some, they're going the distance. Take a listen.
We've searched shelves from Texas to Colorado to Oklahoma to Kansas City, anything and everything, and they're empty.
Our babies literally do not have the formula that they need to survive.
Still, officials are telling parents not to stockpile when they do find these products. They say that could actually make the situation worse.
We'll continue to watch this, Magda. Thank you so much. Magda Gabrisalassi from Washington.